Hi, welcome to my channel, Go So Beautiful. My name's Becky, and this is another episode of Friday Sews. If you're new, I appreciate you checking out my channel, where I like to encourage and inspire you and other sewists in your sewing adventures. Today, I'm going to share what I've made, what I didn't make, what I'm going to make, and what I'm going to fix, and some other things that have kept me busy outside of my sewing room. First, I'll start with what I didn't make. There's an Instagram challenge called Sew Recreate the Look, and I had two dresses that I wanted to recreate the look. And my first choice was a little halter dress I had seen at the loft. And I found this pattern from McCall's M7405, and I thought I better make a toile or muslin just to be sure it would fit right or look right. So I found an old sheet and I quickly made up just the dress with the drawstring at the top and tried it on, and it fit fine, but it did not look good. So I decided, I was thankful that I did not cut into the fabric that I had bought for it, because it was really pretty fabric, kind of expensive, and because I didn't really like the way it looked, I thought I'm going to save that fabric for something else, and maybe I'll make this halter dress out of some other fabric. So then I went to my second choice, which was a simple sleeveless shift dress cut on the bias, and it was made out of a blue and white plaid. And last week I showed you in my fabric haul some really pretty shirting plaid that I had found, and decided I would make the dress out of that. I had a pattern from long ago, McCall's 8238, which is a 2-hour bias dress. Apparently you can make it in 2 hours. It did not take me 2 hours. It took me about, I don't know, at least 8 hours. Anyway, this pattern is size 8, 10, 12. I haven't worn a size 12 probably since I made this pattern the first time, which was maybe 20 years ago. So I had to improvise, and I really couldn't size up from this size 12, so I looked through my pattern stash and I found this one, M7533, which I bought in a pattern haul, I think, and I couldn't remember why I bought it, but now I'm glad I did, because I was able to use this to make my dress. Now this one is cut regularly on grain, whereas the dress in the store that I wanted to make and this one was cut on the bias. So I basically folded my fabric on the bias, which means instead of folding the selvages together, I folded them at a 45 degree angle, thus creating a fold on the bias and cutting out the dress that way, because the front is cut on the fold, the back is cut. It was actually had a seam on it. And here's how the dress came out. I'll put a picture of me wearing it. I tried really hard to match the plaids at the side seams. Unfortunately, probably because I folded the fabric instead of cutting it out one piece flat, I didn't do a very good job matching the plaids, but I don't think anybody's going to notice unless they actually sew. And if they do, I'm going to tell them I bought it at a store, because stores rarely match the plaids perfectly. I think the dress fits really well, and it's just a nice little summer dress to wear. So I'm going to post this on Instagram for Sew Recreate the Look. The back is supposed to have a zipper, and I really did not feel like putting a zipper in, so I stitched up the seam and just made a little opening here with a button loop closure, and it slips over my head just fine. One thing I will note is that this neckline kind of hangs out in the front, and I started thinking this happens to me in some of my other dresses, and I don't know if it's because I have narrow shoulders, maybe across here is too narrow, or if I have sloping shoulders. I've been reading about both, and I'm going to try and do some experiments to figure out how to fix that problem. If you all have any ideas, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave me a message in the comments. I love your comments, by the way, and I do try to answer all of them. If I've missed any, I apologize. I try not to look at my phone all day, but I think I've kept up with most of the comments you leave. Okay, so the next thing I need to talk about is, or I want to talk about, is this pink shirt dress, which I showed in another video. This was an upcycled dress from a men's dress shirt that I bought at the thrift store. And today I decided to wear it because I had to go to the dentist, and I like to wear my makes when I go out in public. Not just because I feel nicer when I'm dressed. Well, I discovered, and I probably knew this before, but the arm side here is huge. And I should have known better because it is a men's shirt. And I'll show you a picture. You can see almost my bra. So I'm going to take this. I had made some bias binding from the leftover parts of the shirt, and I'm going to take that apart, and I think it needs bust darts, which means I'm going to have to take this pocket off. But if I put the dart in, I don't know if it needs to come in here or if it's going to come in at the side, but I have a pattern that I used kind of as a guide as far as the length and as far as attaching this the skirt at the bottom, and I think that'll help me figure out where I need to make that adjustment. So I will film that process so you can see how I do that. As far as what I'm getting ready to sew, I have cut out this new Look N6692. I've been wanting to make a sundress, and summer's almost over. If you go into Hobby Lobby, they've got their Christmas decorations out. If you go to Walmart or Target, they've got all their school supplies out. And here in Georgia, summer's not over. It's far from over. School's going to be starting, but the summer weather is still here. In fact, it's so hot outside today, they've issued heat advisory warnings about staying out in the heat and getting heat stroke. So I'm going to need this sundress. In spite of the beautiful fabrics I recently bought, I decided to use this fabric, which I bought a few years ago from Joann's. And I seem to have a lot of pink things and blue things, but I'm going to make this anyway. It's kind of I'm not sure, it's kind of like a crepe fabric, very lightweight and sheer. And it was 54 inches wide. And for some reason, I bought 4 yards of it. So I had plenty. And this dress, you can make it long with a ruffle or kind of short with a ruffle. I'm choosing the short version just because I'm not very tall, and I think the shorter version will look better on me. Now, the interesting thing about this dress is it has shirring, or what I thought was shirring in the back. I don't know if you can see that in the line drawing, but it's got elastic in the back, and I thought it was shirring. Well, in the notions, it calls for elastic, a 1/4 inch elastic. and I couldn't figure out what that was for. So I looked in the instructions, and here's the instructions. You can see it's got elastic across the back. And what the instructions say is to create 12 channels across the back. The piece is doubled, and then you're supposed to sew lines to make casings, and then you insert the 1/4 inch elastic, 12 pieces of it across the back. I'm not sure how that's going to work, because I don't know if, I guess I'll have to check and see if the elastic is tight enough to hold the dress on, if that makes sense. Anyway, it also has an invisible zipper on the side, which I'm not sure I'm going to like that, but if it's got elastic in the back, it may be easy enough to slip over my head. So this will be an interesting thing, interesting make, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get it made by next week, because I'm having my sewing room painted. I'll talk more about that in a minute. So other things that kept me busy this week, I had mentioned a bookcase that I painted a few weeks ago and decided I never wanted to paint again. And I did finally finish it. I bought some peel and stick wallpaper to put in the back of the bookcase just to add interest. And I did that last weekend, and it was a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be, partly because the bookcase is pretty deep. It's a good 18 inches maybe. So I had it laying on its back, and the first piece went in pretty easily, but then it wasn't wide enough to cover the whole back, so I had to put in a second piece and match the pattern. And I'll show you a picture. The pattern is kind of not very easy to match, but I did match it, and I think it looks pretty good. And now I can put all my stuff from my desk in there, including my printer, and my desk area won't be so messy. As I mentioned, I'm having my sewing room painted this weekend. I wasn't sure I'd have enough money to do it, but I checked I've been saving some money from babysitting and from a little side business, sewing business I do, and discovered I had enough. And I got a quote, and it's very reasonable, so I'm going to go for it. The problem is my sewing room is a mess, and I'm going to have to clean it up in the next couple of days, and it will probably be a mess and even after they paint it, because I don't know how I want to arrange everything. I kind of want to rearrange things, and I'm not sure how I want to do that, but I'll work it out, and hopefully I will get rid of some stuff that I just don't need. So that's exciting. Stay tuned for that. I will post a video about what it looked like before and after, and all of that stuff. So other stuff, a little adventure I had with spray tan. I decided, in an effort to put a little bit of color into my legs, that I would try some spray tan. And I bought a product which said it was effortless and easy, and I followed the directions, and it said you didn't need to, you should wash your body, put your regular lotion on and let it dry, and then spray on the tanning mist, and you didn't need to rub it in. So I sprayed it on my legs and thought I did a good job covering every area. And unfortunately, a few hours later, I started seeing these streaks on my legs, and I looked, and apparently I did not spray the mist on evenly, because I had some areas that were very dark and some that were obviously a lot lighter, and it didn't look too bad, but I noticed it. And so the problem is you cannot wash this stuff out because it's actually a chemical in the spray that stimulates your skin to produce melanin, which is the pigment that causes your skin to get darker. So a week later, I am still waiting for these spots to fade, and I would show them to you, except my legs are not very pretty and I'm too embarrassed to show them on camera. I hope that my experience will guide you in whether you decide to use spray tan or not. I'm never going to use it again. In fact, I think I'm going to throw the bottle out and may write a message to the company with a picture because it did not work well. The best practice is just to leave your legs the way they are. I wouldn't advise going out in the sun necessarily because the sun has its own harmful effects, and while there are some beneficial effects, you get a lot of vitamin D, we don't need to stay out in the sun and bake our legs, which I used to do when I was growing up quite a bit. So anyway, I'm rambling on again, and I hope you all are getting plenty of sunshine safely, and I would love to hear what you have to say about the things I've made or am going to make. Please hit the like button and subscribe and the notification bell, and you will see more videos from Go So Beautiful. Happy sewing and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.